Hello, my name is Fiona, and I'm a certified teacher and a Praxis coach with Study.com. Are you planning to take the Principles of Learning and Teaching Grade 7 to 12 test? This is exam number 5624. Praxis 5624 has several subtopics. This worked solution set covers the subtopic of assessment. Let's review some of the types of questions you may encounter on the exam. Let's jump right in. Problem number 1. Which of the following is a limitation of scoring guides? Scoring guides can create teacher dependence. The source may be unreliable or biased. They quickly become ineffective when they provide too many or too few options, or they are not accessible to students while they work. Let's review each. Scoring guides can create teacher dependence. While it's possible for teachers to rely heavily on scoring guides, this isn't inherently a limitation of the tool itself. Proper use involves integrating scoring guides into broader assessment practices. So this is not the correct answer. The source may be unreliable or biased. This is a general concern for any educational material or tool, not specifically a limitation of scoring guides. The reliability and bias in a scoring guide depend on its development process and the expertise and intentions of its creators. So this, too, is not the correct answer. Skipping to the last one. They are not accessible to students while they work. While scoring guides are often used as assessment tools post-completion of work, they can also be shared with students beforehand to clarify expectations and guide their work process. Inaccessibility is not an inherent limitation unless the teacher chooses to withhold them. So this is not the correct answer either. So we're left with they quickly become ineffective when they provide too many or too few options. Scoring guides, also known as rubrics, are designed to help assess student performance based on specific criteria. If a scoring guide has too many options or levels, it can become cumbersome and confusing for both the teacher and the students, potentially leading to inconsistent or unreliable assessments. Conversely, if there are too few options, the scoring guide may not capture the nuances of students' performances or allow for differentiation between levels of achievement, which can lead to overgeneralization and less informative feedback. So the correct answer is they quickly become ineffective when they provide too many or too few options. Problem number 2. Tara has assigned her 10th grade students an essay to write about a book they recently completed. She has provided them with a rubric, which explains how they will be evaluated for the assignment. The rubric details separate categories as follows: grammar, mechanics, style, and creativity. Each of these will be a separate score on the rubric. Which of the following best describes the type of scoring being used when an essay is graded on separate components such as grammar, mechanics, style, and creativity? Curve-based scoring. This method adjusts scores based on the distribution of all students' grades, typically to fit a bell curve. There's no indication that Tara's grading approach involves adjusting scores relative to the distribution of grades among students. So we can eliminate this answer. Norm reference scoring. This involves grading a student's performance based on their rank within a group, comparing students against each other. Tara's use of a rubric with defined criteria suggests that she is assessing based on a standard, not against other students' performances. So we can eliminate this one as well. Holistic scoring. This assigns a single overall score to a piece of work based on an overall judgment of its quality. Tara's method of using separate scores for different criteria does not fit this description. So we can eliminate it as well. Analytical scoring. Analytical scoring involves evaluating a student's work based on multiple distinct criteria. Each criterion is scored separately, and the rubric Tara uses divides the assessment into specific categories: grammar, mechanics, style, and creativity, each with its own score. This approach allows for detailed feedback on various aspects of the work, helping students understand their strengths and areas for improvement in different dimensions of writing. Therefore, the correct answer is analytical scoring, as it best describes the method Tara is using to grade the essays, focusing on specific, predefined criteria that are scored individually. Problem number 3. A science teacher was observed during her astronomy unit. Her supervisor provided feedback that her assessment was not aligned with her objective. The objective stated students will be able to classify stars based on their observable properties. The assessment required students to complete an exit ticket by listing the stages of a star's life cycle. Which of the following assessment types would have better aligned with the objective? An exit ticket on which students can describe a star of their choosing? An activity requiring students to sort and categorize star manipulatives based on their properties? A flow chart worksheet for students to depict the life cycle of main sequence stars? An oral presentation allowing student groups to describe different stages of star development. Starting at the top, an exit ticket on which students can describe a star of their choosing. While this does involve observable properties of stars, it focuses more on description rather than classification, thus not fully meeting the objective of categorizing stars. So we can cross that out. Moving to a flowchart worksheet for students to depict the life cycle of main sequence stars. This assessment aligns more with understanding the stages of a star's life cycle rather than classifying stars based on their observable properties, so we can cancel that one as well. An oral presentation allowing student groups to describe different stages of star development. This focuses on the life cycle stages rather than on classifying stars based on their properties. So we can eliminate that. So we're left with an activity requiring students to sort and categorize star manipulatives based on their properties. This assessment aligns with the objective because it's an activity where students engage in the practical and visual application of their knowledge, closely matching the learning goal. So this is the correct answer. To align with the objective, the most effective assessment type would be an activity requiring students to sort and categorize star manipulatives based on their properties, because this directly addresses the objective by requiring students to engage in the act of classifying stars based on observable properties. Sorting and categorizing manipulatives that represent different types of stars allows students to apply their knowledge practically and visually, which is directly relevant to the learning goal. Problem number 4. Which of the following assessments informs educators and students if they met a standard or not? Criterion reference test, diagnostic assessment, norm reference test, or formal assessment? Beginning with formal assessment. This is a broad category that can include many types of assessments. It is not specific enough to exclusively indicate measurement against a standard, so we can cross that out. Norm reference test. This assessment type compares a student's performance against the performance of a group, usually reporting how students rank in relation to their peers. It does not measure against fixed standards. So we can cross that out as well. Diagnostic assessment. This type of assessment is used to diagnose students' strengths, weaknesses, knowledge, and skills before instruction begins. It helps identify students' needs, but does not typically determine if students have met specific standards. So we can cross that out as well. And lastly, we have criterion referenced test. This type of assessment measures students' performance against a fixed set of predetermined criteria or learning standards. If the test is designed around specific standards, it will clearly show whether each student has met those standards. Therefore, the criterion reference test is the most appropriate choice for determining whether specific educational standards have been met by the students. I hope I was able to clarify this subtopic of assessment so that you now have a better understanding of the types of questions you can expect to find on the exam. Please remember to like and subscribe to this channel so that with Study.com's help, you will feel confident and prepared on exam day. Bye for now.